Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lalantia show. Today I'm coming on to talk about past lives. So I'm labeling this one as Who Were You in Your Past Lives? This is kind of an introduction, a little bit of an introduction to past lives. And remember, take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because we all have our own perceptions and understandings, perspectives of different things. So yeah. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Lalantia. I'm a psychic realm channeler and energy healer. And I work with the magical realms. I work with dragons, unicorns, mermaids, fairies. I work with ascended masters. I work with galactic beings. I work with all different kinds of amazing, incredible beings, guides, support systems. And it's all about connecting back to you and who you really truly are. Now, I also specialize in working with the energy of past lives. So I do past life healings, I do past life journeys, I do some past life regression, I do a lot of past life work. And a lot of the stuff that I do has to do with the lost lands, but not all of it, not even close to all of it, not even probably half of it has to do anything with the lost lands. But people do come to me a lot of times when they're ready to connect to their lifetimes in the lost lands of Lemuria, Atlantis, and Avalon. But this video is about who were you in your past lives. That doesn't mean I'm going to tell you who you were in a past life, because obviously there's, one day there's going to be millions of people who watch this video, right? I mean, millions, that's not too much to ask for, right? No, but I just want to kind of go over things a little bit, because sometimes people say, well, who was I in a past life? And it's like, which one? Because most everybody has had thousands of past lives. Now, I say most everyone because there are a few exceptions to this. There are people that are now incarnating upon Earth who have not had a past life on Earth, that this is their first time on Earth. Now, there's not a lot of them. I mean, I don't even know what's a lot anymore. Numbers, they're just, yeah, I don't know. It's just all how we understand things to be. But for me, how I understand it to be through the energy is that there's not a ton of people on Earth who haven't been on Earth before, but there are some, because there is a fresh new energy that's come. Now, there is also some people who haven't been human before on Earth. Well, obviously, if it's your first time on Earth, then it's your first time being human, because Earth is the only place where we're human, because on other planets, we're going to be other beings. We can look like a human or human-esque, some similarities to humans, but there's a difference. There's differences in that. So if this is your first time on Earth, this is your first time being a human. Now, that being said, it may feel as if this is your first time on Earth, because being human does not feel natural at all. Maybe it doesn't feel like your most authentic self at all. And that's okay. And that's part of the work that I do, is helping you to understand that you are more than just this human body, and that you have perhaps had past lives as a mermaid or mer being, or as a fairy. You could have had past lives as many other beings. You don't have to have just been human. In, I guess, how I understand things to be, and in my channeling and the information that I receive personally, we don't come from Earth. So that means that we have had other lifetimes on other planets. And that means that we were other beings on other planets. Now, there are also fairies and mare beings and dragons and all kinds of other beings on other planets. And this is also like different forms of different animals. And there's just so much. There's so much. Okay. I'm not going to go into all of the different kinds of beings that could have been. The list would go on forever. But there are these beings that have been on other planets as well, and you could have been one of those beings. Now, you could have, a lot of times we hear about, some of the more mainstream galactic beings. We hear about the Lyrans and the Syrians and the Pleiadians and Andromedans. We hear about all of these different beings. Actually, we hear about the Andromedans like less than the others, at least I do. But we hear about these different beings, but there's even more than that. And there's also more than what a lot of people share. In, how I understand things to be, this is my truth. You take what resonates. And so you could have had, okay, Back up, back up, back up. Okay. So when I do past life sessions with people, I get this opportunity of seeing lifetimes that are very different from our lifetimes here on Earth. I have seen different lizard people. I have seen octopus type ish beings, octopus being kind of a stretch, but similar ish. I have seen beings that aren't really similar to anything on Earth. I have seen feline beings. Um, there's just so many, right? I should have sat down and made a list so I could actually start naming some of these beings. Maybe I just need to do individual videos about them. But the point of it is that there's many, 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 many different kinds of beings that you may have been in past lives that were not on Earth. Now on Earth, your past lives on Earth, you could have had thousands of past lives on Earth. You could have had thousands and thousands and thousands of past lives on Earth and on other planets, and even some people could say millions. I don't know if I would stretch it to millions, but possibly. Maybe we need to channel on that. I haven't actually specifically asked, do we have millions of past lives? But I don't think it really matters. You know, we connect to the past lives currently that we need to connect with. And that means that there's energy that we may need to heal from past lives. And there's also energy that may be more of like an awakening to our wisdom experiences that we had from past lives and our energy of personal power. So in past lives where you were really deeply in your, like really in your power and your strength and really did like lived a purposeful life, if you connect to that energy now and kind of have that remembrance, then you can embody that energy more easily because you feel it more, right? And so you can bring it forward in your life now. When I teach about past lives, I talk about that, you know, both of them are equally important. Past lives where you need to heal things because those things reoccur in this lifetime that you need to heal. They'll show up in your relationships with other people, romantic or otherwise, relationships with your parents even. And all of these things are coming forward through your experiences on Earth in this lifetime. Now, if you do past life healing, then you can kind of nip things in the bud and not have to have the full experience. You can have an awareness before the full traumatic explosion of whatever it is that you need to learn. Okay. So you can actually avoid some of these situations when you're able to experience these past lives. Now, sometimes when I'm channeling for people and looking into their past lives, sometimes it's just about reminding them of things of just like who they are, that they've had a past life where they went through this and this and this and this, and it showed them how to be really strong and how to persevere and how to create change in their life. And then if they did it in that life, they can do it in this life. There's so many different things when it comes to past lives. Past lives are absolutely fascinating to me because I have connected with mirror beings, people who have been mermaids in other lifetimes on other planets. I've connected with a lot of people who have been a mirror being, either on Earth or on other planets. Sometimes you have been more of another being more than you have ever been human. I would say that was probably the case a lot of times, but when I see it kind of the most obvious is when it's something like if somebody has been a mermaid in more past lives than being human or an upright standing being, like standing on two legs, then walking can be something that's really hard for them. They can have a lot of issues in the lower back and have a hard time with certain aspects of things. People who have been fairies in past lives, maybe they've been fairies more often than they have been human or any other type of being, and they can have a harder time with certain things like so they're more connected to the natural world. So anything that is made from chemicals and like chemical scents and foods that aren't natural, their body's gonna have a hard time processing that because energetically it doesn't resonate with them. Okay, so this kind of goes into what could be many, many more videos. But if you want to look at who you were in a past life, you need to allow yourself to sink into what feels like your truth. And that's probably what you need to look at most at this moment. Now, you can also look at your greatest lessons in your life, and you can see that lesson that you're going through now is probably something that has carried over from another lifetime, and that now it's time to take back your power in regards to that situation. So if you have had a relationship in this lifetime where it was very traumatic and difficult, and it was about you finding your voice and speaking your truth and whatever, then it's very likely that in past lives this has been a repeating cycle where maybe you were silenced for speaking your truth. You had a hard time um, using your voice and speaking up in this life because over and over and over you have been killed or tortured, or just bad things happened to you when you spoke your truth or when you stood in your power or whatever it may be. So then you can look back and see, okay, this is something that has probably been a repeating pattern. Now for me, when I first started going into my past lives, originally it was with support from a mentor, but it was actually only um, actually, that's not totally true. I did have support through my first life regression, but I wasn't actually regressed in that session, and I ended up pretty much doing it on my own. And she just held a space for me. She did hold a space for me, and so that probably helped me. It also pushed me out of my comfort zone. Like I felt like I needed to continue and not just be like, well, I can't do this. I had to be like, I can do this, and I'm going to do this. And that was at the very beginning of my spiritual journey. That allowed me to see that I can do it. I actually gained tons of confidence from that experience because, hey, if I could go and see a past life in within my first like 6 months of my awakening, then I can definitely do this. Like my psychic abilities weren't even really present at the time, at least to my awareness. I'm sure that they were, but I wasn't really aware of any of them, and I was able to see that past life that I needed to heal in that moment. Now, some of our past lives aren't super traumatic. Like I said, that it can be things about reminding you of your power and who you really truly are. It can be a connection to love. It can be so many different things. And for me, that first one was just healing something that was showing up in my life now. And it wasn't a super big thing. It was a gentle thing. It actually worked perfectly for me because I didn't have such an attachment to it. It was something totally new, but I didn't have a resistance to it because it wasn't um a super traumatic thing that happened in a past life. It was something I needed to heal, but it wasn't super traumatic. I didn't have this massive fear as soon as I went in, so it made it easier. So remember that if you start doing past life healings, regressions, whatever it may be, whatever form you're doing it in, keep in mind that it may not be some big thing, especially the first time. It may be something that just is more gentle and makes it easier for you. Now, the more I did, I worked with somebody as a mentor, and that opened up my abilities further. And I pretty much have done most of my past life healings on my own or with other people holding space for me. So I'm receiving the information, they're holding that space as I receive it. Now, I do that with my clients. Sometimes, if we're doing a journey, they're going to see what they're going to see, and I'm holding that space. I can help them to understand the message. But other times, people aren't ready to go on a journey. They need somebody to hold, like, I don't want to say they're not ready for the journey. That's not actually totally accurate, but there can be a massive resistance where they don't allow themselves to really see what is really happening because of that resistance, that really big fear. So then I'm able to just go in and channel it for them, and share with them what I see, what I feel, what I know, and allow them to slowly integrate that energy that is coming in. That can make it easier for them to be able to go into the past life energy a little bit deeper on their own, and be able to recognize, okay, so I was a child in this past life. I'm going to talk to this child me and kind of continue to heal that energy even beyond our session. Now, there are just so many different ways of working with past lives, and listing everything here would just be a little bit too much. I feel like this is one of those topics that needs to be multiple videos. But I wanted to have something out there just to give you an idea of how I see past lives and how I believe it is important to connect with past lives. I don't believe it's totally absolutely necessary. There are people that will never look into their past lives whatsoever, and that's okay. But a lot of people, maybe even most people that are spiritually awakened, have a desire to connect with past life energy, connecting to other aspects of themselves. When you were an incredible healer in Atlantis and you worked with crystal energy, then you go into Atlantis, you see yourself working with that beautiful crystal energy, and being an incredible healer, then you can bring that energy forward. You have an awakening of a remembrance, right? You remember that to some degree, even if it's not totally conscious, you understand some aspect of it that allows you to be able to step into that energy. Now, a lot of the energies from these lost lands in particular are important for us to awaken that remembrance of, because that is meant to be brought forward now. When we lived in Lemuria and we worked with the earth in balance with the earth and in flow with the earth, we had incredible abilities, right? And we're not going back to Lemuria, we're not going back to Atlantis, we're not going back to Avalon, but we're bringing aspects of each of them and other past lives forward to now as we create the new earth. So this is not just about those energies, it's also about some of our lifetimes in Egypt, lifetimes in other ancient lands, places on earth, but also galactic lifetimes where we maybe were a leader of people and helped people understand equality. I personally had a lifetime like that, so that's why it's my example. But it's important to kind of think outside the box when it comes to past lives. And I think that a lot of times people don't. A lot of people don't talk about past lives as other beings. They only talk about past lives on Earth as humans. And oftentimes not even about Lemuria, Atlantis, or Avalon, which I think is incredibly important. So I am that one that's like breaking down all the boxes. We look beyond that. We look at our lifetimes here. We look at our lifetimes in other realms and on other planets, and we see beyond what is just right here, because we are creating a new earth and we need to see beyond what we are used to. We need to break beyond this conditioning that we have as humans who think that we need to be a certain way or act a certain way or whatever, all the human conditioning. We're not going to go into that. That's a whole nother video. So hopefully this helps you to understand past lives a little bit more and understand that there's just way more to it. Now, I did a video about were you a past life? Were you a past life? Were you a mere being in a past life? I think that might be the title, but it's that topic. I got a lot of comments and actually got some clients from that video because a lot of people resonated with it. It was a very, very helpful video for different people. I did that video quite some time ago, and it made me realize that it is really, really important for me to talk about this more and to help people understand that we are often still limiting ourselves when it comes to our beliefs in regard, even when we are spiritually awakened, and we need to break beyond that. And I know for myself, it was a process. It was a process to believe in angels. It was a process to then believe in fairies. It was a process to believe in dragons, although not really, because I believed in dragons the moment my dragon showed up and I couldn't not believe in her anymore. But angels for me was the big one. Once I believed in angels, everything else came pretty easily. It was mostly like just that breaking down the conditioning and looking beyond that, what I had always been taught. That was just my imagination. So a lot of it is that. So I'm going to end this video. I've been jabbering for so long, I'm sure. I have no idea how long it's been, but thank you so much for joining me here. I have recorded a workshop that is all about past lives. It includes past life journeys as well. So you can go into a past life. Actually, I'm not going to go into the details of it. I'm just going to tell you it has past life journeys, but it also has amazing teachings about past lives to help you understand that energy more and understand more around past lives in general. So you can go beyond this video and things that I could just put out on YouTube and just taking it deeper. So when that is posted, it's not at the time of recording this video. I don't yet have it posted. I am putting it together and getting it up on a platform so that you can just pop over there and sign up for it. But I did want to let you know that it is something that exists. As soon as it's posted, I will put the link in the description, not the comments, the description. I'll put the link in the description below. Also, a few other things. I have a group on Facebook. It's called Sorceress's Circle. It is a free group. I'm live in there 3 times a week with my friend Natalie. We go in for channeling. We go in for topics. So we'll have conversations about different things. Today, at the day of recording this, it is a Friday. We did a video that was all about unicorns. So every Friday, we do a video on a different topic. Sometimes it's magical beings, sometimes it's galactic beings, sometimes it's just a spiritual topic, psychic abilities, energy, all different kinds of things. I also have a YouTube channel with her, and those conversations do go up on YouTube if you want to check them out. My YouTube channel with her is posted in the description as well. I also have one more thing I'm going to tell you. I have a newsletter. So if you are interested in learning more about magical beings and you want to know which beings you should be kind of setting the intention to work with, or maybe most beneficial for you to work with at this time, sign up for my newsletter. You will get that quiz, which is absolutely beautiful. My friend Dee designed it, and it's very simple. It's not like the Facebook quizzes. You look at it, it just gives you an idea of that different energy of the different beings and how they can support you. And that will help you in choosing or knowing what angle to go in at and who to call into your life. That also includes 2 meditations. One is going to be to connect with the magical guide that you're wanting to connect with. So then there's the other one is with Sophia, and yeah, it's very different, but it's an amazing meditation. So definitely sign up for my newsletter. And if you don't like getting my newsletters, then you can unsubscribe, but definitely get that content and see what you think. I am about to record some new ones because they have been up for a little while and I can't really remember all of the content in the meditations. And so I'm going to re-record them and get them up. And maybe by the time you're watching this video, there are new ones because, people are watching this video for ages to come. And that's the joy of YouTube. And sometimes I forget that. So anyways, leave a comment, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.